Hello and a very warm welcome to the Internet of Things Made Simple. I'm Larry by Humor. This is the 6th episode in our COVID-19 series, and I thank you for joining us. I hesitantly say, as I'm preparing for this episode, things are starting to show signs of getting better out there. Maybe I'll actually be able to get my hair cut before I'm unable to fit my head through the door. Yeah, my hair is getting kind of bushy. As always, I ask two things. First, please subscribe to this podcast using your favorite podcast service. Of course, we're on most of them, so it's pretty easy. And if said service allows you to leave a review, kindly do so. This week, we're going to talk about an industry that's been in the news a lot lately, the construction and infrastructure space. When one thinks of this space, a lot of things might come to mind. Really cool pieces of machinery. Large cranes, a bunch of guys whistling at attractive ladies in New York City when they walk by. And of course, very hardworking women and men. However, one thing you might not think of is technology. This commonly held belief comes with some merit, as these industries have routinely ranked among the bottom of technology use, especially IoT. With the number of large projects and maintenance efforts that are likely to take place increasing over the next little while, I'm assuming some kind of stimulus package gets announced, we thought we would cover a number of different ways that IoT is helping to maximize the productivity of work being done while reducing costs and improving worker safety. Let's get started by talking about a technology that has put some of us into awkward situations over the years. Quick, how many of us have been led astray by the GPS applications on our phone? Has it led you down the wrong way on a one-way street? Or even told you to drive into a body of water? That was on The Office. I think that was really funny. The GPS technology on our smartphones is usually good enough to allow us to do most of what we need to do. It's accurate enough for us to know basically where we are. However, when you're working on projects worth millions of dollars, it's nowhere near accurate enough. You need precision, namely, precision GPS. These solutions ensure that things go where they're supposed to by providing accuracy down to the inch or centimeter for the metric fans out there, and even smaller amounts in some cases. This technology is commonly used in areas like agriculture and energy production. These solutions are built to handle the incredibly tough conditions where much of this work is done. The next example covers an option for providing communications in areas that traditionally have no coverage. I'm going to bet if you've been listening to this podcast for a fair amount, you thought I was going to talk about cellular modems, which is, by the way, a great option for internet connectivity when there's no landline-based solutions available. No, here I'm talking about point-to-point communications. Using point-to-point communications allow you to piggyback off an existing connection, like in the case if you were building an extra building on the back of your property. These solutions set up quickly and provide a safe and quick way of accessing the internet. They work using laser-like or laser technology. I'm not that technology savvy on this stuff, and it can provide incredibly quick speeds. They're ideal for things like, as I mentioned, a remote building on your property. So in the case of an airport who's building something across the field, when you're all finished, you just pack up all the equipment and move it on to the next job site. For our third example, we will talk about how you can keep track of expensive toys that are used on construction sites. As a kid, I used to love playing with dump trucks and scoopers, whatever they're called, in the sandbox. Yes, there was a time when kids actually got dirty and didn't have a screen in front of them at all times. In real life, these machines cost huge bucks, so you want to keep them both productive as well as know where they are at all times. By using onboard telematics, your operations team can always know the status of the machines. They can better schedule maintenance based on real-time usage and be alerted to little problems before they become big problems. This saves unnecessary downtime. As well, amazingly, these things get stolen. I'm trying to imagine them stealing these things, but I guess you could throw them in the back of a truck. GPS tracking will alert you if they're moving in a way they're not supposed to. So say their maximum speed is 15 kilometers an hour or 10 miles an hour, and now it's humming down the highway at 4 times that, you know it's probably been stolen. For our next example, we talk about things that were previously unmonitorable, and I'm not sure that's even a word. From a financial standpoint, it always made sense to track the big items at a construction site, like those big toys I was talking about. But how about the not-so-big things that are also still quite vital? How about if the device didn't have the ability to provide power to a modem and you had to power it via battery, which could be very consuming? For these items, there was never a way to know if they were moved or if they were out of order. Here I'm talking about fencing that's used around the site, high-end tools, and even the porta potty. The lowering cost of IoT hardware, as well as the reduced size that has been introduced by technologies like Cat-M, LoRa, and other ones, has opened up the ability to monitor equipment better than ever before. This also does not factor in technologies like RFID that have taken the humble barcode to a new level. Up next, we'll talk about technology behind much of the growth of IoT. Alright, stop me if you've heard this before. IoT is all about information. With so many things going on at a construction site, it's impossible to know everything, and this increases the chance of accidents happening. Sensors help as they provide valuable information that can be used to warn of things before they happen. It's perhaps a vibration sensor that can alert to an earthquake, it might be a heat or cold sensor that can alert to unsafe conditions or issues with the concrete curing, it might be the humidity sensors that can alert to levels that could damage key supplies, or maybe it's a motion sensor that can alert to an unwanted presence after everyone has got home for the night. IoT applications take these and make that information usable. Getting a motion alert every time somebody leaves the site is not helpful in a place where dozens of people work. So the software allows for intelligence to know when things are normal and when they're not. Speaking of sensors, they can also be used to keep your most valuable asset at a job site safe and productive, and we'll talk about that in the next point. As we just mentioned, sensors keep your asset safe, and this can be extended to your most valuable asset, your team members. First used by the military for soldiers in combat, biometric sensors in clothing are now being used to alert to issues with your team members, especially the ones doing high-risk work like operating cranes and heavy machinery. Whether it's from an illness, a work accident, violence, or an environmental issue, you can be alerted when a team member has an issue, even if they're unable to tell you themselves. The pieces of clothing include shirts that alert to temperature and pulse rates, and hard hats that can alert to a hard hit to the head. Finally, these devices also alert who may be on site and their location in the event of a possible evacuation. In our final example, we'll talk about keeping things from walking off your site. One of the biggest costs to any construction project is the loss of something. Think tools, wood, copper wiring, flooring, and even diesel fuel from the tanks. The loss of these items can add up and cause you to lose productivity. Low-cost tags can keep them safe, and you'll always know where they are. This reduces the time it takes to look for things, and you can also know when they're where they're not supposed to be, like in the back of a truck speeding down the highway after hours. They also help to keep track of inventory for when you go on to the next job site. When we come back, we'll wrap this up. Some of you might say, wait, you didn't push a cellular gateway here. Is that not a viable option for construction? Of course it is, but I just figured we've covered that so many times, you didn't need to hear it again. In short, IoT has the potential to totally change this industry, and we're not even talking about how it can help with post-work, like in the case of environmental monitoring. If you have any further questions on this, or any subject to do with IoT, why not check out our webpage, theinternetofThingsMadeSimple.com. There's a ton of great material there, including some very colorful free ebooks on a number of topics, ironically including this one. You can also reach out to us using our Facebook page, The Internet of Things Made Simple. I look forward to talking to you soon. Stay safe. I'm Larry Humor.